Hey everybody, so as an introduction to this phone call to the Inspector General, I filed a complaint regarding this entire filming in court situation, and from all the way back to September 11th, and then us being charged with disorderly and all this stuff with me and Jason Gerhardt. I filed an official complaint with the Office of the Inspector General from the U.S. Department of Justice, and I would like to inform you all that that option is open to you as well. If you've seen the videos and you would like to comment and file a complaint yourself, the number is listed in the description of the video, and I'll blast it across the screen right here, and I'll say it. It is 202-282-5000. So feel free to watch this first and see what I told them. And if you feel so inclined to voice your complaints and grievances to the government regarding Officer Plante stealing my phone and in general violating our rights to record in public, please feel free to do so. Again, the number's in the description. So thank you, and I hope you find this informative and helpful. All right, so next I'm going to call the Inspector General, the Department of Justice, and file a complaint about the recording thing and now the theft of my phone.
Hello, you have reached the Department of Justice, Office of the Inspector General. To report what you believe is wrongdoing by an employee of the Department of Justice or within the Department of Justice program, please press 1. To leave a message in the general mailbox.
Hello, you've reached the hotline for the Department of Justice, Office of the Inspector General. To report what you believe to be wrongdoing by employees of the Department of Justice or within the Department of Justice or its programs, please listen carefully to the following 4 options. If your complaint relates to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Drug Enforcement Administration, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the U.S. Marshal Service, a U.S. Attorney's Office, or to any other office, division, or program within the U.S. Department of Justice, please press 1. If your complaint relates to the Department of Homeland Security or U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement, please press 2. If your complaint relates, this office has no jurisdiction in matters involving the Department of Homeland Security or Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Please contact the Department of Homeland Security at 202-282-8000. Again, for all complaints related to the Department of Homeland Security or Immigration and Customs Enforcement, please contact the Department of Homeland Security at 202-282-8000. Thank you. Goodbye.
Oh my goodness, what a rabbit hole this is. So now let's call 202-282-8000 if you want to file a complaint about Department of Homeland Security for anything.
Thank you for calling the DHS Contact Center. For U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, or questions regarding green cards or visa applications, please press 1. For Customs and Border Protection, CBP, or questions regarding border entry requirements or the Trusted Travel Programs, press 2. For Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, or questions regarding immigration investigations, press 3. For Transportation Security Administration, TSA, or questions regarding transportation security screening, TWIC, or TSA PreCheck, press 4. For Federal Emergency Management Administration, FEMA, or questions regarding federal natural disaster assistance, press 5. directly to a DHS contact center representative, please press 6. Please wait for the next available operator. Your call may be monitored for quality assurance and training purposes.
Got that right.
Homeland Security contact center. How can I pick up the phone?
Excuse me?
How can I direct your call?
Oh, I'm trying to file a complaint against a local DHS officer.
Okay, I'll get you to the Inspector General's there, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hello?
Hello?
That's weird.
That's
Hello? I don't know, it's just blank here. So I called the Inspector General and they said they don't oversee DHS, call DHS. Am I gonna have to call them back? I don't know what's going on right here. Call them back.
Thank you for calling the DHS Contact Center. Please wait for the next available operator. Your call may be monitored for quality assurance and training purposes.
Department of Homeland Security Contact Center operator. Wanting to message your call?
Hi, I just called and I was transferred to the Inspector General and it went to like a blank. It rang once and then there was nothing there. It was just blank and I said hello and then it echoed back my hello. It was very strange. And I sat there for a couple minutes.
Sure. I apologize about that. Let me try the number that I have for them. One moment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for calling the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Office of Inspector General hotline. To continue in English, press 1.
Para continuar en español, oprima número 2.
This hotline is designed to receive allegations of fraud, waste, mismanagement, and abuse pertaining to DHS programs, contractors, and employees. If this call is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911 or notify the local law enforcement authorities in your area. Or if in an ICE or CBP facility, please notify facility staff. If you are currently in ICE or CBP custody and wish to make a report, please press 0 to speak with an operator. If you wish to report the whereabouts of illegal aliens or a business that employs them, please press 1. For immigration processes, applications, or for immigration court information, please press 2. To apply for FEMA disaster assistance, please press 3. If you wish to report FEMA fraud, waste, abuse, or mismanagement of FEMA relief efforts, including hurricanes, floods, or wildfires, please press 4. Again, this hotline is exclusively to report allegations of fraud, waste, mismanagement, and abuse pertaining to DHS programs, contractors, and employees. For that function, please hold to speak with an operator or press 5 to repeat these options.
Homeland Security, OIG. This is Danae speaking. Can I get your first and last name and a phone number for record-keeping purposes?
My name is Frank Staples, like the store. And my number is 603-722-5408. What was your name again?
Danae.
Danae. How do I spell
Yes,
it?
sir. Denae.
All right, thank you, Danae. So I am calling I've already filed criminal charges with Concord, New Hampshire Police Department. I had a trial at 55 Pleasant Street, the, Warren B. Rudman Courthouse building. And I was pro se party. And this complaint is in regard to DHS officer Michael Plante. He charged me with disobeying an order for recording in the public lobby, which is allowed by the poster in the wall. It says we're allowed to film the lobbies, the corridors. It's CFR 102.74.420. Says we're allowed to record in the lobbies, hallways, corridors, and our auditoriums. And he's applying a local rule 83.8, which governs civil and criminal procedure in the courtroom. So they are applying this out in the public areas of the building and denying people the right to record, and I was arrested for it. All right. And so then I was arrested again at my arraignment, again recording in the lobby, and I was charged with disorderly conduct this time. I went to my trial, and this same officer, Michael Plante, gave me another disorderly conduct charge from April 8th, where I was there documenting the sign in the lobby prior to my trial to show that there's a sign there that says we're allowed to film in the lobbies. And I was charged again with disorderly conduct for the previous day. I was given that ticket on the 9th, April 9th, but it was for April 8th for alleged disorderly conduct in the lobby. I've not received court dates for either. It was, I believe, January 22nd for the other disorderly conduct. And in the original disobeying when I was recording charge was in, when was that? September 11th, 2023. So on my at my trial on April 9th, I was allowed to bring my phone into the courtroom by the judge. The trial, I left at the end of the trial while it was still ongoing. I grabbed all my stuff and I picked up my phone and I started recording. And Officer Plante took the initiative, even though he was a witness in the case and there to be a witness, and there was court security and marshals had the authority in that moment with the judge in the courtroom to do anything. He came over and grabbed the phone and ripped it out of my hand and then said he would give it back outside. When I got outside, he came out and he said he's keeping it. I have this on video. I went to my car and I grabbed a recording device, and I have him on video and other DHS officers telling me that the judge confiscated your phone and I could get a receipt from the clerk. Well, I called the clerk the next day and they said there was no contempt charge. The judge didn't seize my phone. There was nothing in my file. I then talked to U.S. Marshals who also work with the court security, and they said that they had nothing to do with the seizure, and to report a theft, I would have to contact Concord Police Department, which I did. Now, the other thing, not only does it violate New Hampshire law, this is felony theft. It's a $1,300 phone. There's also the CFR that I mentioned, 102.74.380, which says you're not allowed to steal on the property. That's on the same poster that says we're allowed to record in the building. So DHS Officer Plante had zero authority in that instance, with the judge in the courtroom and the trial ongoing, to take the initiative to seize my property, and then refused to give me any sort of receipt or documentation about it. I then went to the Norris Cotton building, and I have this on video, and I have Plante saying that he took the phone. I went back another day, and I have on video conversation with Commander Thompson, and he refused to provide me any sort of documentation. I said, this is a records request, FOIA, 91A, however you want to look at it. I need some sort of documentation about this theft of my phone. And that's why it's a theft, because there is no documentation. Like, if it was official, there should be some sort of documentation. So now they've just kept my phone and not given me any kind of receipt or documentation about where it is and what's going on with it. He did say he's trying to get a warrant because it's evidence of a crime. Even though, if there was evidence of a crime, why wasn't I arrested? What is the crime? It's suspicion is not a crime. And so that's basically the gist of it. It's gotten a little bit worse now that this phone theft has happened. It was bad enough when I was getting charged and arrested for exercising a First Amendment protected activity in public areas of this building, which is allowed via the rules that govern conduct on federal property. And so the question here, the legal question, is, there's a couple of them, but the main one is 83.8, the local rule that governs civil and criminal procedure, whether that has any effect and supersedes the rules that govern conduct on federal property in the public areas. So the other issue is jurisdiction and compliance with New Hampshire RSA 123:1, and that's the acquisition of federal property from the state of New Hampshire. I have a document and a video conversation from the Secretary of State on April 8th, 2024, that shows that the federal government has never accepted our offer of cession and filed anything for any federal property in the state of New Hampshire. And there is one case law that cites this. It's a New Hampshire Supreme Court case, and it says in 1961 that the federal government has never accepted our offer of cession, and that it is all New Hampshire territory. All the property here in the state is still New Hampshire territory until the federal government complies with the acceptance of our offer of cession on our books, on our laws here in New Hampshire. So that's another reason why. And even if they did, it would be a concurrent jurisdiction, which is why Concord Police would have concurrent jurisdiction, and why I was directed to talk to them. But really, New Hampshire has exclusive jurisdiction under RSA 123:1 because the federal government has never accepted the offer, like I said. And the case is 103 New Hampshire 211, Supreme Court of New Hampshire, Town of Newington versus Campanella and Carty Construction, 1961. That's the case that you guys need to look at.
Okay, yes, sir. So what I can do here at this hotline is I can go ahead and take a report against DHS agent Michael Plante.
Sure. And so you have all that on the record, what I just said?
Yes, sir. I took notes as you were speaking, so now I just need to construct it into a narrative for the report.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to include a mailing address for our investigators to reach you?
Yes, that'd be great. It is 332 Merrimack Street, Manchester, New Hampshire, 03103.
And can you spell your street name for me, sir?
Excuse me?
Can you spell your street name for me?
Oh, sure. Merrimack Merrimack.
And then your zip code was 03103, you said?
Yes.
And do you know what department of DHS Michael Plante works for?
He's some sort of explosives guy right now. That's what he testified to.
Okay. Okay, sir, give me a little bit of time. I'm going to start to construct this narrative, and then I'll go ahead and submit your report, okay?
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Have a great day. Do you need me to stay on the line?
Yes, please, sir, just in case I have any questions as I continue.
Sure.
And then just to clarify, sir, you said the initial court date where you were recording was September 11th of last year?
Correct.
Okay. And then you were again charged on, you said January 28th for disorderly conduct?
22nd, I believe, 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah, disorderly conduct for and here's the other thing. So on September 11th and on the 22nd, there was two people that were arrested on the first instance for the same thing. Myself and a New Hampshire state representative by the name of Jason Gerhard, Gehard. He was arrested first, and then I was arrested, and then we both had our arraignments at the same time in the same day, and we were both charged with disorderly conduct in the lobby on our arraignments on the 22nd, January 22nd.
Okay.
So his name is Representative Jason Gerhard, Gehard. And it's really an abuse of power here. This is unbelievable what's happening. And another point that I would like to make is that the CFR governing the photography on the property is regarding commercial photography. Like, I assert a separate individual right to create and make my own records wherever I am in public, video, photography, all that. And so that is a sacrosanct First Amendment protected activity that is inviolable unless there are clearly restricted areas where it's not allowed. Anything publicly accessible, you have a right to record anything you can see in public. You know, you can even film restricted bases and whatnot from public areas, telephoto lens and all that type of stuff. Like, you can do that. Anything you can see from anywhere in public you're good to go. And these were public places that I was in. I wasn't even trying to film anything that was restricted if I was in that area. And they also claim that you can get the judge's permission under Rule 83.8. And the judge's permission can only be inside the courtroom, not outside, because the judge isn't always there. So, like, you file something where to get permission to film that day in the lobby? How does that's just irrational, completely irrational. That's not how it works. Yeah, maybe ask permission to film a certain hearing or something, but not to film in publicly accessible areas that says you're allowed to film. That would be like legislation of law from the bench.
And when they told you that your phone was seized by the judge, who did they tell you to go get a receipt from?
The clerk. I have that on video. And then I tried to do that, and the clerk said, no, the judge didn't seize it. This was the day after, so obviously it would have been in the file by then.
Right, yes, sir.
And I have that call on as recorded as well. Pretty much everything I do is recorded. Oh yeah, another thing, Plante, he was like threatening to come to my house to come get me over the phone. It's like, I told him, even if I recorded a little for whatever 5 or 10 seconds in the courtroom, it's not a crime, and it would have been the judge to decide what to do with it, which she decided to do nothing, and I would get it as discovery anyways. And there's all the video in the courtroom, so it's not like I got anything secret. It was all being recorded and documented anyways. So there's no harm This is a lesser harm defense, if anything, but there's no crime. There is literally no crime there.
Okay, yes, sir.
So I'm assuming he took it and thought he was doing the right thing. And when he got in there, they were like, nobody told you to take it and keep it. And then being a hardhead, instead of just giving it back to me, he decided to try to keep it and do some sort of, I don't know if it's a secret warrant process. Like, is that even a thing? Is he's applying for some secret warrant that I'm not allowed to know about? And not have any sort of receipt or documentation of what's going on? It's really, and coupled with all of these other incidents and abuses of power, of arrest, charging us with disorderly, and disobeying a rule. What rule were we disobeying? This rule says we're allowed to do it. So there's nothing posted on that poster about 83.8 saying that this court procedure rule, local rule, has supersedes these rules that are on the poster. There's nothing of that nature.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, sir, well, I do believe I have everything I need to go ahead and submit this report off to our investigators. Do you have any questions for me before I do so?
No, is there like a case number or something?
No, sir, we don't generate case numbers here. For your own records, you just need to take down the date and the time that you made this call, as well as my first name.
Danae, April 24. Right? 2024. Excellent.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and submit this off. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Of course. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there you have that. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. If we bear any fruit from that.